Hey everybody, Casey here. So yesterday I talked about how Nielsen data shows that streaming has officially usurped cable as the most popular way for people to watch television, and that how inevitably streaming is going to surpass cable and traditional broadcast television combined, and how right now Netflix continues to be the leader with something like 7.7% of TV consumption in July alone. That said, I think we can all agree that Netflix has been going through a rough patch. They're one of the pioneers, but that doesn't mean that things are really going well for Netflix right now. So CNN recently reported in April, Netflix lost subscribers for the first time since 2011. Its stock tumbled more than 60% so far this year. But CNN also pointed out that Netflix's recent struggles may not be the start of a downward spiral or the beginning of the end for the streaming giant. Rather, it is a sign that Netflix is becoming a more traditional media company, and that may be okay. But it was a Business Insider piece about Netflix that really grabbed my attention because it focused on how Netflix insiders describe a culture shift to what they call a fear-based decision-making mode. So, there have been layoffs, which can happen in tough times. There's been budget tightening, which also probably makes sense, especially at a company where they seem to focus on growth at any cost, emphasis on the at any cost. But the problem, insiders say, is that Netflix's unique culture, which historically has boasted a flatter hierarchy, transparency, accountability, has gotten more political. Yeah, it's becoming more like a traditional media company, but not in the good ways. Now, one former staffer says it's all about ego, right? We didn't think anyone could catch up to us, this insider said. But now other people are catching up to Netflix and proving again something we've talked about for years here on Morning News Beat, which is that there's no such thing as an unassailable business model. Listen, managing from fear is a terrible, terrible thing. You make decisions for all the wrong reasons. You play defense instead of offense. You think tactically instead of strategically. And you almost never, ever invest in innovations because you're thinking to yourself, what happens if it goes wrong? Listen, there's nothing wrong with fear if the thing that you're afraid of is becoming complacent. If you become complacent, you stop competing, right? That's something to be afraid of. But it's like Crash Davis says in Bull Durham, right? You got to play the game with fear and arrogance. And the arrogance has to reflect in your confidence, in your decision-making ability, in your strategic vision and your ability to execute on it, and in your capacity to innovate in a way that makes you both relevant and resonant to your employees and your customers. But fear-based decision-making on its own, well, that only leads to 9 miles of bad road. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.